This is the Pacific Northwest. Carved by glaciers aeons ago, it now represents a rare temperate rainforest. Specifically, this is Eld Inlet and the Evergreen Forest. I'm going to teach you how to survive in this unique environment.
In modern times, environmentalism isn't so much as a debate, but a way of life. There's a certain emphasis on living sustainably. Sustainability is the capacity to endure, what it takes for humans and life on Earth as we know it to survive. As we speak, the planet's threatened by our current way of life, erosion, pollution, and climate change.
Hunters and gatherers have survived for millennia without ever creating this much waste and destruction by taking what they need and only what they need. We're going to educate you about how you can survive in this contested landscape sustainably. Water is plentiful here in the Pacific Northwest. Safe water, however, is not. You can never be too sure, because of parasites like Giardia. I'm going to show you how to drink this water with little to no risk of getting sick. If you dig a well, the silt can act as a natural filter for the water. Let's let this fill up a little. It's not the best tasting water, but it's better than weeks of diarrhea and severe dehydration. Giardia is a microscopic parasite found in waterways all over the world. It forms cysts in the running water that animals or humans will drink. From there, it will infect the digestive tract, where it will go through its life cycle, only to infect the water and its host again. Giardia can cause severe symptoms, such as diarrhea, vomiting, halitosis, and, in some cases, death. This here is red alder. The native peoples used to use its inner bark for medicine. These here alder groves often grow over recently disturbed or clear-cut forest. Logging is a constant affliction to our planet's forests. Since the beginning of civilization, humans have used timber for anything from construction to warfare. With a rapidly growing population, however, our forests are threatened by clear cuts in more ways than one. Level trees prevent soil nutrition and erosion protection. More often than not, the newly planted strand will not support original biodiversity. In an effort to stave off rampant logging, the United States established environmental protection through the National Park Service and the Forest Service. The national parks are set aside to preserve nature for the enjoyment of all. National forests, on the other hand, allow regulated logging on public land.
This is Puget Sound.
located between the Olympic Peninsula and Washington's mainland, home to thousands of marine species and over 3 million people.
It is important that we find a balance between man and nature. This is probably one of the most difficult problems we face due to the conflicting needs of people and wildlife. We can limit our impact on nature by responsibly disposing of our garbage and limiting pollution.
One of the issues facing Puget Sound is the increased development of waterfront areas. People often enjoy the scenic views of this landscape, but it comes at a heavy environmental cost. Waterfront development often involves the removal of natural vegetation and trees, as well as building bulkheads. This speeds up erosion and removes natural habitat that is important for the survival of countless species. Bulkheads are large concrete structures that are built with the purpose of creating a more defined shoreline and preventing tidal erosion. In other words, people build them to try to prevent their homes from washing away. However, when bulkheads are built, shoreline habitat is removed, and trees that would have prevented erosion are often taken out. One of the problems with bulkheads is that in the event of a mudslide, the land simply slides over the concrete barrier, defeating the whole purpose of having one in the first place. However, there is a solution to this problem that is more ecologically sound. Instead of building a bulkhead, one can put natural debris, such as old logs or fallen trees, along the shore to help stabilize the land, and also leave the existing trees and plants that have erosion-preventing root systems.
An issue involving the water quality of Puget Sound is dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen occurs when excessive nutrients such as nitrogen from agricultural fertilizers and runoff enter rivers in large quantities and is carried out to sea. The excess of nitrogen causes huge algal blooms. After the algae dies, it decomposes. The decomposition process uses the oxygen in the water, resulting in the death of wildlife. You can do your part to prevent dissolved oxygen by not using lawn fertilizers and being aware about runoff from your property. Remember, all drains lead to the ocean. The Pacific Northwest has an abundance of plant and animal life alike. However, some of the introduced species are ecologically harmful. Plants, such as English ivy, thrive in the mild, wet climate of the Pacific Northwest. The excessive growth of these invasive species impedes on the growth of plants that are essential for the habitat and survival of animals, such as many water birds. A solution to this invasive species problem is to remove invasive plants, such as English ivy, Himalayan blackberry, and ornamental mint, and replant it with native plants that will provide habitat and food for animals, as well as provide better erosion protection. Unlike ivy.
Education plays a major role in preservation. If we can learn how we're harming the environment, then we can learn how to stop it, to ensure a better future for the Earth and ourselves. And we can do that by learning to take what we need and not much else from the Earth. Remember, sustainability is the greatest good for the greatest number in the long run. In other words, survival.
There are a number of grassroots organizations dedicated to educating the public about the environment. Aaron and I have taken up arms with two of these. I represent the Olympic Forest Coalition, a watchdog group devoted to analysis of the Forest Service, specifically on the Olympic Peninsula. The Forest Service regulates logging in state forests. However, no one is immune to corporate corruption, especially on the federal level. OFCO makes sure these forests dedicated to timber harvest are considered environmentally and sustainably, as well as advocating stricter environmental regulation all over the Pacific Northwest.
With People for Puget Sound, an organization that promotes the well-being of our marine environment through education and action. By working on different restoration projects throughout the area, we hope to get the community involved in protecting and preserving the coastal habitat that millions of us call home.
Remember, you can't survive
without an Earth.